That's what I was trying to do, but from the heart, I'm stopping and starting. All right, here we go. So my name is Ewart Jackson, 20 years old. Guess you could call me an entrepreneur, businessman, and my business is, dressing people in like a style. That's not really a stylist. I'm like a designer. In high school, it was always, like growing up, like everybody wanted to dress a certain way, or dress in the flyest clothes, or Jordans. I think True Religions were big back then. Whenever when the Mermots came out, and they were popping, everybody wanted that. As a kid, I wanted it too. You see it, you want it. But yeah, I never got it, but I always found a way to come to school looking good or dressed good, or people would acknowledge it. Like whatever I had, I found a way to make it work. And I never considered maybe I want to be a designer or anything. I only thought of that after I dropped out of college. So some silver lining like a dark cloud, I guess. I only considered being a designer after damn, I don't know the story anymore. Yeah. Considered being a designer after dropping out of college. At first I wanted to be a pharmacist, a chemist, chemistry major, because that's where the money is at. But if your heart is not in it, and no matter how much money you're making, you're not gonna want to do it because it's gonna be a job to you. And since I was 9, I think. I don't know who told me, but I always heard the saying that, find a job that you love and it's not a job, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, once I think there was a point where I sat and I just thought yo, maybe I should do a clothing line. I always had amazing ideas or whatever. Maybe I should do a clothing line. And I thought of myself 30 years or 10 years from that. And it's just yo, I could see myself doing this 10, 20 years from now, not even caring. I would love it just as much. The designs would be just as awesome. I would give them my all, 100%. As compared to being a pharmacist. I hope that answered your question. College. That was kind of financial wise, because I'm Jamaican. I came from Jamaica when I was 10. So I couldn't get, for some reason I couldn't get financial aid and all that good stuff that Americans are privileged with. Not that I'm knocking Americans or anything, because even some Americans can't even get it, which is facts. But oh, you can't hear me?
I couldn't get it.
Oh, you couldn't get it? Exactly. See, we're in the same boat. That's why you're my boy, man. My nigga. But yeah, so I couldn't get it. So my mom used to for my first year, 1 year that I did, which was awesome. I came from college, is awesome. If you got the money, go. It's good shit. But for that first year, my mom had to beg for money or something. I admitted I got a scholarship, but it was for one semester. And then for the other semester, she had to beg other people for money. I don't want my mom to do that, not at all. She was gonna do it for my second semester, but no, my second year. But by the second semester, I was already damn, I don't want to do this. This shit is so whack. If I was to go back to college, I'd still be an academic freshman. I didn't I didn't pay attention in class or whatever. It just wasn't me. My heart wasn't in it. And I'm I'm a smart kid. National Honor Society, all that jazz. But I'm just talented. I'm not gonna use it as a skill to make money with it. It's just natural. It's cool. I think that answers the question. But yeah. So once I dropped out, I was once I figured out that my mom couldn't, because she was my main financial support for college. Once I figured out she couldn't do it, I'm you know what? I'm just gonna get a job. I'm gonna save money and start working. And then, I really believe that things are meant to happen for a reason. Because once I started working, I met my partner who was helping me with this clothing line right now. I met him, and he gave me the name Only Winners Live. So it's that was meant to happen. There's a whole lot of things I'm yo, it's meant to be. These are signs that should keep going. Maybe not. Maybe they probably are just coincidences, but I take it as a sign to keep going forward. Anything to like propel you forward, to keep pushing. I mean, I admit there's times when you feel lazy and all of that stuff, but once you get back to it, you know, understand like this is my dream. Like, it's time to wake up and start living it. Like, don't spend all your time dreaming. Or whatever. What keeps me on the path to make it only winners live, the greatest clothing line ever, not the greatest, but established as one of the greatest clothing line ever. My motivation is really like, sometimes I just stand and like look at the alternative. Like, what if, you know, like this summer I don't make these clothes, and I keep saying like, oh, I'm gonna make them, no, I'm gonna make them. I'm gonna end up like still being like a line cook, like still working odd jobs just to like, you know, pay rent or whatever. Or if my mom kicks me out paying, you know, some shit. She's about to kick me out, by the way, which is sad. But so it's just like the alternative is scary, really. Like, you know, it's like once you, it's like when you're about to do a trick, like you're not supposed to hesitate. Like you're supposed to go like full force or whatever. Like don't hesitate, because then you fuck up or whatever. So it's like I don't want to hesitate. And like I know it's gonna be hard. Like there's gonna be like discouraging moments and all of that. Like where, you know, stuff will not selling probably, which I doubt it, cause it's just gonna be popping. But you know, like people try to like take my money or something like that. There's gonna be discouraging moments, but that's not the same as like hesitating. Like hesitating is like, to me, is like, you know, the startup, like going forward with it. Because then I don't want to be like, you know, 5 years from now I'm still like, oh, you know, only when this love is coming, only when this love is coming. But other than that, like, I never run out of ideas. That's like another motivation, like another thing that's like, yo, I could do this forever, because I never run out of ideas. Like, just come naturally to me, you know, for a shirt or whatever. And I could only get better. Like my skill sets could only get better to fill those ideas so I could create them. Like I never run out of ideas. That's like one way to know that, you know, this is what I'm like meant to do. And it's not even like what I'm meant to do, it's what I want to do really. Like this is my future. Like there's no questions. Like there's like another good example. Like I really love basketball. Like I want to play college ball. Or, you know, I want to like have a college career. I don't want to be an NBA because I'm too short or whatever. But I want to have a college career. But like the motivation for that is like there sometimes and then it goes. But the motivation for this clothing line is there and it stays. And it's like haunting me. Like if I ever slack off, it's like, damn, like somebody else is making this. Cause you know, no idea is like new under the sun. Like someone could always come up with the idea that you have. You know, it's just about like who makes it first or whatever. So it's like all the time that I'm like standing there slacking, it's just like, yo, someone could make this and like take my idea. I'm not stressing because, you know, I could come up with another one that's just as good or whatever, but, you know, it's just like, get on it. Like, why not? Like, why not now? Like, why not do your thing? You know, how badly do I want it, really? It's like your hunger level, I sounded Jamaican in that one, I know for sure. That's how the accent came out, but it's about like how hungry you want it, you know, like, you know, some Kobe shit, like that nigga would, like, for the win, he would give it his all. So it's like, I have to stop and ask myself, like, do I give it my all? Like, successful people really, like, the ones that make it or made it already, like, they've put in like so much work. Like, it's not easy at all. And like, I've put in a lot of work and I haven't even started yet. Like, I could only imagine how hard it's gonna get. Failure, what? Man, there's no failure. There's no doubt in my mind that this shit is gonna get popping. Like, there's no, I mean, I should be wary, but like, failure, like, that's not even, to me, that's not even failure. Like, oh, I should stop. That's probably like a step back and I leap forward, you know what I mean? Like, it's all gonna be a learning lessons. There's a lot of things I don't know that, you know, I'm trying to learn, but even then, that doesn't substitute for actual experience. So like, you know, business arrangements and all of that, I'm gonna learn or whatever, how to interact with other companies and how to, you know, grow and stuff and all of that. But like, failure, nah, that's not even an option, really. Like, got to make my mom proud, first of all. I think that's the number one things, like, 'cause she's always telling me, like, go back to college or whatever, at least stay in school, you know, something like that. But I'm gonna show it to her, like, I'm going hard just to show that, you know, I did it my way, still a good way, you know, because a lot of people are like, I'm getting sidetracked, but I'm tired of hearing that whenever I tell someone I'm not in college, you're like, oh, when are you going back? Go back to college, da 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 da. Yeah, college is like good, it's helpful, 100%. But you could be successful all the ways. Like, personally, I feel like becoming successful outside of college is even harder. It's even more of a test of like how hungry you are, how ambitious you are, and how efficient you are, like how much work you put in, like, because like college, like they're giving you like a piece of paper, like, oh, I'm credible, this is like what I could do, this is whatever, and you can make money off of that. But like if you don't go to college, like you just have what you're showing. Like personally for me, I just have like my clothes, like this is like my creative side, this is what I think of, this is what I could produce or materialize, really. If any of that makes sense. But,
makes a lot of sense.
I don't know, I feel like, yeah, like college is awesome, but there's other ways to like become successful. You know, I look at the kids right now, like they're like going into their 4th year, they're about to become seniors. And I was sitting like, damn, I could have been like a senior right now, but like would I have been happy really? Would I have been like, you know, 100% about whatever degree I'm about to be getting? But I forgot what I was saying. Failure? Was it failure? Was the question about failure?
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah, fear of the unknown. But nah, like I would accept failure, like 100%. I have no problem. Like, yo, I failed. Time to move on to something else. I would go back to college when I'm like 40 or whatever. But that's after I gave this shit 100% Like, you understand? Like, I would try and try and try until I can't try no more. So my advice to those that are trying to, you know, start fulfilling their dreams, is to start now. Like, there's this quote that I read that if I could get it tatted on me, I would get it tatted on me. This is a quote that a year from now, you're gonna wish that you started today. So it's just always like, we could always find excuses of why we don't want to, you know, start today, but that's a form of giving up. That's a form of weakness. Like, you're making you don't believe it, but you're making a self-conscious decision to be lazy, to not do something. You know, there's 1,000,001 other people out there. Whether you want to be a rapper, a clothing designer, or a fashion designer, whatever. Like, I've heard this like 1,000,000 times. I'm like, oh, I have my own clothing line. Like, oh, there's like 1,000,001 clothing lines. Like, I know there's 1,000,001 clothing lines out there, but are they gonna work as hard as me? Are they gonna put in as much effort as me? Or the idea is gonna be as awesome as mine? Like, are they gonna like fuck with the people as much as me? Like, you know, it's all about like self-confidence and starting like ASAP. Like, even if it's something small, just like start it. And like once you see that like you created that one thing, like you can go from there. Like I'm dying to see that. When I made my first clothing piece, I'm dying to see that, because it's like, yo, this is mine. Like, this is the first step to my dreams. I can't be front. I'm kind of scared to do it. Like, scared that I'm gonna lose out money. You know, it's not that I'm not gonna keep trying if I lose out on money. It's just that I work hard for that shit. Fucking line cooking shit. But yeah, what was I saying about starting now? So yeah, there's like 1,000,001 other people out there who are trying to do the same thing as you. If you're trying to be a rapper, there's a bunch of fucking rappers. Like, if you're trying to be I don't know, what else do people want to be these days? Photographer even. Sorry, there's 1,000,001 other people, but that's like you're doing right now. You know, you're doing your profession right now. You're taking it serious. From talking to you, I can see that. Like, this is what you want to do, like 10 years down the line. And like, you invested in it, like all this equipment and stuff you invested in. I invested in mine for the bench. So like, you know, it's gonna cost money to make money, And it's gonna like, I feel like I should say something else. It's gonna cost money to make money, and it's gonna be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And it's also good. It's also good to have the right people around you. Positive people who are like in the same direction as you. Now, don't get that wrong, you know, because don't get me wrong, because there'll be a bunch of fucking people who see that you're doing something that, oh, I want to do it with you, and then they're just like a bunch of fucking slackers. Like, find the people that are just as motivated, want the same thing, and they're bringing something to the table. Even if it's like a model and they're bringing good looks, they're bringing something to the table. Because niggas like models and they will like that shit, and that shit will go viral. That's my aim, or goal, whatever. But yeah, just like, so the right people around you, because, you know, negativity breeds negativity, and that shit will bring you down and fuck up your shit. Because the shit is like shit, trying to get to that place. And you know, when niggas, you know, cause a mutiny and shit. But yeah, the right people, starting ASAP, and you know, just start as soon as possible, man. Like, I started last year, 2012, you know. To me, like, what motivated me to start was because, you know, the end of the world or whatever. But, you know, only winners live. Establish that world's end, even though the world didn't end. But yeah, you know, just start as soon as possible. It never hurts. And trademark your shit. Copyright that shit. Niggas will be out to steal your shit. Because they're not as creative as you and awesome as you. So, fuck them. Yeah.